Hey everybody, Roger here. I want to talk to you guys today about a pretty crazy open letter that has just been released. I first heard about it just maybe about an hour ago on usatoday.com, actually on Twitter on their USA Today channel. There's I guess an officer trainer, I don't know what the official title is. His name is Tim Vogt, and I believe it's pronounced Vogt, V-O-G-T. Mr. Tim Vogt is basically criticizing, calling everybody peanuts in regards to criticizing the officers who stood down, the 4 officers who stood down in the Parkland shooting massacre. He's basically saying, well, you guys don't, in a nutshell, he basically is calling people peanut idiots. I'm not sure what the exact phrase was. I'll put it down on the bottom below when I go home. And he is basically saying, unless you've ever been in a situation like we have to deal with, with a measly $40,000 salary, etc., then you should not talk. We also do need a lot of recruits, etc., etc. So, okay, there are a couple problems I have with his letter, and I'll put a link to the open letter he had below. One of the biggest problems is that these officers were never forced to obtain their positions. They willfully signed up to be officers, trained to be officers. Are the people that are committed to serving and protecting. I mean, it says it right on the police officers' cars. I'm a huge police officer. I'm a huge police fan. I will back up the officers all the time. I love my officers. I think they all do great work. I've even been in scenarios in the past where, I was pissed off a bit. And as I grew older and realized, how they were, I kind of understand their position on a lot of things. And they're just doing a lot of things from a legal, lawful standpoint. So with that, I've learned to gain a lot of respect for them. And, I do hold, what they do up to the highest admiration. A lot of them go in and willfully sacrifice themselves, to again, serve and protect. So they themselves are in this scenario through their own choice. It's not something that is forced on them. They understand this going into that field. A lot of them, at least I would assume a lot of them know this. I would assume every single one of them are aware of this when they go and become officers. It makes sense. So with that, I think it's very incredulous for Mr. Tim Vogt to criticize the average American, critiquing their lack of bravery in this situation. It wasn't just one; it was 4. It was 4 officers, and I did hear a side story, and I could be incorrect on this, but I heard a side story that one of them came out and, it was a paramedic actually, I'm sorry, a paramedic or something, said that they needed to stand down until they were given further direction. I don't say how it must be an officer. I can't remember. But I mean, if they're being told all this stuff, it's something tells me that there's something bigger at play here, and it's very disturbing. So anyways, I don't want to sidetrack on this. Going back with Mr. Vogt, I'm going to compare your comments and the way that you disgustingly called all of us, peanuts. You're a former border control, a state trooper, I believe. State trooper is what you were. And to know that a state trooper thinks this low of the average American, where you think that none of us have ever put our lives on the line for anything or anybody or any reason. It's not just officers that do it. There's everyday people around that do this as well. So while I admire your view, or not admire, but I appreciate your view and I respect it, I'm gonna call BS on it right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and use some of my examples where I can't get away with things and people can talk down on me if I do something wrong. Number 1, I have a job. I have to be both HIPAA and PCI compliant at my job. If I fail at that, I can't be that one person that failed on it and then say, oh, don't give me a hard time, because even though I took all of these courses, I understood the issues, I know what I was getting myself into, I should be giving some sort of leniency, and nobody out there nobody in the general public should be critiquing me. Well, yeah, they should. They're the ones that that rely on my ability to ensure that their information, that their PHI, all their information is being held to the strictest standards, the most current standards, the most current PCI HIPAA compliance standards there are. No exceptions. The exceptions are that if we get audited and they find any sort of anomalies, any sort of areas that need improvement or are easily accessed, or somebody is or people are performing a certain item incorrectly, we have to take care of it, and we have to take care of it as soon as possible. Otherwise, huge fines can result. Not only that, I mean, I personally feel an obligation when I'm dealing with personal information like that to do whatever I can, to do whatever I personally can to ensure that their information is safe. You know, some of these people, if their information got stolen, for instance, some of them are probably only surviving on SSI or limited income. And if we screw something up on our end, do you know how much of a burden that is for me to carry? You know, to know that I caused this. My negligence, my lack of being the professional that I'm supposed to be, affected hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. It is my responsibility, and I should be critiqued on that. I signed up for this job. I know what I got myself into. And again, it's not a life or death scenario, but it is a great example of, you know what? I have standards to abide by, legal standards. So do you. So there. I don't see where we can't have a criticism about this. I'm pretty sure if I was a family member, I am a community member. I am a member of the United States community, and I do have concern for this. You know, you see Sheriff Scott Israel acting all big and macho. Go watch my other videos. I definitely shut him out in there, just like Mrs. Dana Lash did very awesomely. Call him out on his bullshit, because there is so much bullshit he is actually delivering here. Just a bunch of lines, you know. We know how to keep America safe, were his exact words, over and over and over. We know how to keep America safe. Well, you know what? Your first officer did not, and then 3 others later it was determined they did not know how to keep a school safe. In fact, a subdivision of America safe. So no, you're telling us, and you're also telling us that we have to hand over, that you would prefer laws be in place where we could take guns off the streets. In that CNN town hall, every fucking audience member in there was so heightened on emotions, it was ridiculous. It was sad, and it was an abuse of personal tragedies for all of them. Granted, they all willingly went in there knowing this. All the people that were in attendance, they knew what they were getting into, and I'm sure they're going to be knowing that they're subject to this criticism as well, and our deepest condolences and sympathies, obviously. You know, all those things come into play. But when you're on that stage and you're saying, you know, we need to ban all semi-automatic weapons, you're basically saying every freaking weapon that you can pull with the trigger and then reload and pull, you know, or shoot, whatever. And you're basically saying almost every single weapon in America you want banned. For what? So you, Sheriff Scott Israel, can continue fucking up? So your team can continue fucking up and not going in and taking action? You want us to be that much more defenseless? And Mr. Tim Vogt, you want us to be that much more defenseless too? You want us to rely on these authoritative figures who aren't even doing their jobs right to tell us that they want our guns, that they want our weapons? That's all that was said in the town hall. You know, the truth is out now. That's the heightened emotions were there. The truth is out. It was spoken in volumes, in plain English, with the audience cheering. Rubio. So that means we're gonna, you know, if we do it this way and just do everything now, we're gonna have to ban all semi-automatic weapons. And the crowd cheers. And so does Sheriff Scott Israel. You really now think that there is no agenda out there? Oh my God, you guys are all like just being so paranoid. We don't want to take all your firearms. We don't want to take all your firearms. Well, it sure fucking seems like it. So here's the whole thing here. We can judge Tim. We can. And as a citizen of the United States of America, I think I stand with millions of other people who think that you telling us to shut up and not critique, criticize, and have an opinion and a view of how this stuff was handled, when, you know, our military does the same thing. They have no choice in the matter, though. They're there in the middle of an obstacle, and they can't come home. They have no choice but to not cower out. They were, you know, they out of anybody, I think they are obviously the most challenged. They have the most challenging scenario, and then an officer would be a close second. But yes, that's my opinion on that take right there. I don't know what else to say. I just think that you really need to bite down on your words, and I really think it's very detestable that you think of all of us as peanuts. We're people. We're the people you serve and protect. And you know what? We do our best to serve and protect and uphold. How do I say this right? We appreciate our officers. The majority of Americans do. I do believe that to be true. And those of us who do so wholeheartedly and without question. There are obviously bad seeds in every scenario. We are able to criticize them. I'm pretty sure okay, oh my God, I could totally reverse this right now. You know, you're telling us not to criticize the officers, but here you are criticizing the American people by calling all of us peanuts. You're basically saying 100% of us. So, I mean, that kind of, for you to say that about us is basically you doing what you're telling us not to do. You're criticizing us, but you don't want us to criticize the officers. I don't get you. I thank you for your service. You know, being protecting and serving America, whatever community you were involved in. But this was definitely uncalled for. So, anyways, what are you guys' thoughts? Am I going a little too far here? Do you guys also, after you read his open letter, let me know what you guys think. If you think he's gone too far or I'm going too far, I do personally feel, again, that I do have a right to criticize the officers for not going in, and also ultimately blaming Sheriff Scott Israel for allowing this scenario to happen. And who knows at this point, you know, if it was being directed or not, or if they just cowered out. I have no idea. But you know, little snippets of truth keep coming out over and over again, and it totally undermines like David Hogg's statements. Oh, well, you know, we're gonna outlive you guys. Oh, and you know, it is the gun. We need to change gun laws. And yada 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 yada. You know, you're really living high on the hog here, Mr. Hogg. I sympathize with the people. I don't know. You said your sister lost 2 friends, 3 best friends, 4 best friends. I don't know what the figure is now, but all these lies keep coming out. What is it? How many friends did she lose? You know, I don't want to ask anymore because I think it's rude. But my God, you're playing it over and over again, and your numbers are different all the time. So we can criticize. You know, what is that saying? When you'll know who your authority is, you'll know who controls you because you can't critique them, or something like that. Anyways, what are you guys' thoughts? I really hope that things are going to get better for us all in the long term in regards to relationships between officers and officers wanting to, you know, serve and protect and not cower out like that. Again, I understand nerves, but in my job, I have nerves as well. You know, I deal with it every day. I am not comparing my stresses to yours. They're definitely like thousands of times lower than yours, but I have obligations and I stress the fuck out to try to meet them. So there's that. Hope you guys all have a great day. Thank you for watching this video. Take care. Bye.